checking in after round 5. Right now, Madrimov is doing a good job keeping Bud on the end of his punches and landing that straight right hand. And Bud is trying to find his range, but this type of fight tonight against this guy, Bud got to step to him. And Bud got to hit him to the body, hit him mid-range, get on the inside of the right hand and make it a dog fight, because Madrimov can fight like this all night long.
Yeah, exactly. But he will always answer back. You know?
Always answer back.
So I think he landed a few power shots, and because we're not used to Bud getting hit, people were acting so dramatic. Oh, the fight was close. Honestly, I did give Madrimov 3 rounds, maybe 4, but I thought that Bud.
I didn't see a round he lost.
Yeah, I'm saying,
I didn't see one.
I mean, if I'm trying to be like, give him some round for some power shots, because he landed a lot of power shots, but I thought Bud won that fight like with no problems.
But there was no consecutive power shots landed.
Exactly. It wasn't like a barrage.
Yeah, it wasn't like
it would be one shot at a time.
Yeah,
and then Bud would answer back with like 4 or 5 shots.
Yeah, he wasn't able to hit him with her.
I don't think it was close.
Nah, me, I know it wasn't close.
It just wasn't spectacular.
Yeah, but the dude, he could fight.
Yeah.
He's a good fighter. Then he got that jerky style where it's hard to time.
Awkward.
Awkward.
And because of that awkwardness, Bud fought the perfect style to tame me.
Chess.
Made sure they said, you know what? I'm not gonna go too fast. I'm not gonna go too slow.
Yeah, it's hard to time.
He fought the perfect style fight.
That was one of the greatest of all time, Andre Ward. There's no secret, Andre Ward is the most versatile fighter in the sport of boxing that I have ever seen. Ward had the ability to fight every fight differently depending on his opponent's style. Ward's style is all about making his opponent uncomfortable. If they don't like the pressure, he's gonna pressure. If they don't like the inside work, he's gonna fight them solely in the inside. If they don't like to box, he's gonna outbox them. He could counter while utilizing angles, or he could counter while applying pressure. Ward simply can do it all, and that's what made him so special. That's why when the GOAT speaks about boxing, you gotta listen to what Ward has to say, since he's full of knowledge. He sees boxing from a different lens. Now, you guys heard what Andre Ward had to say when it came to Crawford versus Madrimov fight. During the fight, Andre Ward made an interesting observation. He said, due to Madrimov herky-jerky style of his movement, feinting with his feet and hands, along with his head movement, it would have been better for Crawford to apply pressure in order to eliminate all of that away. Which, interestingly enough, that's exactly what I said. If you guys watched my review immediately after the fight, I told you guys, in my opinion, Crawford would have made the fight easier during the middle rounds if he went to the high guard and started walking Madrimov down, similar to how Gervonta walked Frank Martin down, and went to the body. He could have even possibly got Madrimov out of there. Now, I told you guys, Madrimov gained Crawford respect with all of his feints. That's what kept Crawford guessing. You see, Madrimov was not letting his hands go. He wasn't throwing punches. He kept feinting because he knew if he would have committed, he would have gave Crawford the opportunity to counter. We didn't see Madrimov lunge like he usually do. He knew better not to do that. That's why he kept his hands at home and he just kept feinting. If you go back and watch the fight, both Crawford and Madrimov kept resetting for good reasons, because they kept feinting with their hands and feet, trying to get in the best position. They were fighting for position, hand control, etc., etc., etc. Madrimov did an amazing job staying in the fight, making the rounds competitive. However, he was not winning the rounds since he was not active enough. He did not want to throw punches due to the fact he knew he would have gave Crawford the opportunity to counter. He respected Crawford so much, so he kept his hands at home. However, that's not how you win rounds. Crawford was the only one who was consistently landing punches. He was the only one who was landing combos. He was the only one who was landing his jab, his lead hand all night long. And every time Madrimov had a good moment, Crawford will immediately come back and take the play, steal the moment away from Madrimov by either landing combos or landing a punch just equally as significant as Madrimov's right hand that he just landed on Crawford. That was the story of the fight. The only reason why the fans thought the fight was that close is due to the biased commentary on DAZN. That's why I'm glad Sean Porter was there to save the day. I mean, the commentary was terrible. Per usual, old media, when they call on the fighter who is on the coincidental list, they never call his blow for blow. It ain't a coincidence. Matter of fact, later on this week, I'm gonna make a video to show you guys how biased the commentary was on DAZN. They were really preying on Crawford's downfall. Like I said before, Madrimov made the rounds competitive. However, he was not doing enough to win the rounds. Nevertheless, I totally agree with Andre Ward's assessment about the Crawford versus Madrimov fight. There was a point in the middle rounds when Crawford countered Madrimov to the body with a left hand and then a right hand. 2 punches to the body. He caught Madrimov's attention. That's when Crawford smiled. At that moment, I felt that was the time to turn up and go to the high guard to walk Madrimov down. Now, I have an idea to why Crawford probably didn't do that. At the end of the day, when you're in the ring, you see things differently. I mean, Crawford could have been worried about Madrimov walking him into a shot, since Madrimov be throwing these lunging shots while getting out of the way at the same time. So he's not there to be hit while he's throwing these haymakers, turning his whole body into the punch. So Crawford could have been worried about that. Madrimov was throwing these nasty uppercuts, hooks, right hands, and overhand rights. So Crawford couldn't just walk in from the front door, but he could have had walked in from the back door. Could have had utilized head movement to slip these lunging shots by Madrimov if he did so, and counter to the body. You see, during the fight, Crawford felt the best way to fight an awkward fighter like Madrimov is from a distance to see his punches coming, especially his lunging shots, and counter that. However, the problem is that Madrimov didn't let his hands go like he usually do since Crawford was on the other side. Madrimov really respected Crawford like that. He kept saying he's pound for pound #1 before the fight and even after the fight. For good reasons. He knew what time it was. In that instant, I think if Crawford took a page out of Ward versus Froch fight or Gervonta versus Frank Martin fight, being an aggressive counterpuncher, I think that would have had forced Madrimov to make mistakes. I think that would have had forced Madrimov to throw the lunging shots that Crawford was looking for, training for, and anticipating for Madrimov to do. However, like I told you guys before, Madrimov wasn't fighting like his usual self. We did not see Madrimov throw these haymakers and lunging shots like he usually do, since he knew if he made that mistake against Crawford, that would have had cost him the fight. And I'm not just talking about losing by unanimous decision, I'm talking about losing by KO. Madrimov is a very intelligent fighter, which is why he kept his hands at home. You see, Crawford beat Madrimov at his own game. But if Crawford applied pressure and made it a dogfight, made Madrimov uncomfortable and kept going to the body, along with whenever Madrimov lunges, counter him, he would have had made the fight easier, in my opinion. And it seemed like Andre Ward saw the same thing. One way to eliminate the herky-jerky style, all the feints with the feet and the hands, is by applying pressure, closing the gap, turning the chess match to a dogfight. Perhaps Crawford didn't feel strong enough at the new weight class to do something like that. That could have played a part. Or it could have had been Madrimov lunging with shots and getting out of the way at the same time, which that would have had made it difficult for Crawford to close the gap safely. One thing we do know that we saw whenever Crawford applied pressure or went to Madrimov's body, Madrimov was clenching Crawford real tight. Or in a smart way, Madrimov will push Crawford off balance, so he's not able to punch since he's no longer in balance. And I think Crawford should have picked up on that. Either way, Crawford clearly won the fight and made history. Madrimov, on the other hand, his stock went up. his stock went all the way up, even in defeat, since he lost to the pound-for-pound #1 in a good fashion. I told you guys, I see Madrimov beating everyone at 154 not named Crawford, as long he could deal with pressure, since we didn't see Crawford explore that element of Madrimov game, so we don't know if Madrimov could fight on the back foot or not. We shall see, only time will tell. Last but not least, if Canelo doesn't fight Crawford, then I would like to see Crawford fight Virgil Ortiz if Virgil is able to be successful next week. However, if Canelo is interested to fight Crawford, I think it will be a smart idea for Crawford to test the waters at 160, perhaps against Danny Garcia. Stylistically, that's the closest fight to Canelo. He's flat-footed. He's also orthodox. And if he's able to beat Lara, that's Crawford making history against a name opponent that he has history with. In that instant, Crawford can grab another belt at his 5th weight class and then finally move up to fight Canelo in his 6th weight class. So that way he's able to accomplish more being a 6th division world champ while being prepared properly to fight Canelo, taking the proper steps. With that being said, go ahead and drop your thoughts in the comment section below, subscribe below, and to be continued on the next episode of Akhi TV. Peace out. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.